Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Saw for the show off. As you know, DUHSHOWOFFZ. Go download it from Google Play, Apple Store. Go show me some love. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel when you get a chance. Show me some love. Show me some love. Um, yeah, I'm stuck in traffic here, but I just came from seeing the house. Listen, be careful. When you go see a house, make sure y'all look at the walls outside. Walls on the side of the building, walls outside. Make sure there's no bows, no lumps, no nothing. They wanted 40 grand for the house, and as you know, you gotta make sure you look. Me, I've been, looking at properties for a long time. I own properties, and it's tough. So the house was for a good price, but when we went in there, me and the realtor, um, the first thing I noticed was the floor was buckled. The floor you could fix or whatever. So as we kept on going, the steps going up from the first floor to the second floor were a little crooked. Well, that's already, that's a negative. We went to the kitchen, no kitchen. Um, a lot of water damage. It was a lot of water damage, and which is all right. You could fix that. So I didn't even go to the basement. I didn't even go to the basement because the steps going from the first floor to the second floor was crooked and it was down. We can imagine what the basement was looking like. So I didn't want to step down to the basement and get hurt. I really didn't. So I made it to the kitchen. I didn't see no back door. I saw plywood on there. Then again, like I said, the house was a good price, but you have to figure how much money you're going to put into it. So, it's a little tutorial of house looking. And then it was a shell. They had windows, they had doors, but inside there was no sheetrock on the ceilings or nothing. So you had to do the electric. That is from the rip. You had to do the electric. We're still on the first floor, so right with the entrance to the basement and towards the kitchen, there was a little dent. So that dent indicates that the floor is either the floor got more wet or the wood is rotted or something. Just use your imagination. And fine. So I told the realtor, watch yourself. This is not good, and this and that. No, and so we're going, checking everything, doing everything. Everything is fine. Now, as I told you, I went to the kitchen. The kitchen is bad. There's no cabinets, no sinks, no pipes. There's no ceiling, no sheetrock in the ceiling. That's all on the floor. The house got water damage. Let's go from there. The house from the rip is water damage. So that's just one. So that's fine. Now, walking back, going to the second floor. Remember I told you that the steps from the first floor to the second floor is a little crooked. This and that, this and that. You can see a hole. So we skipped the first two steps, kind of the third floor to the second floor. Now we get to the second floor. The bathroom, complete water. If you step on it, you might fall through the floor down to the kitchen because it was that wet. The wood was damaged. 2-bedroom house. So we get to the middle room. There's sunlight coming in through the roof. There is sunlight coming in through the roof. So now we know where the water damage is coming from. So Lord knows that we got to put a roof on there. The house wasn't bad in that price. So, fine. The roof, bad. They had like a swimming pool right underneath the hole. So when the water falls, it goes in the bucket, in the swimming pool, whatever it is, but it overfills and it's going to the floor. And that's how come, I guess that's how come everything is wet there. It's a lot of water damage. Go to the front room. Front room was probably the best part of the house. Now, there is windows in the house. I'm not telling you there's not. There is windows in the house. Front room was probably the best room. Now, I'm looking at the realtor and I'm saying there's too much money for this price because a roof. Let's start adding up. Roof. What? At least is about, let's give or take $4,000 for a roof. And this is a 2-floor house, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, kitchen, living room, and dining room. 4,000 for the roof. Electric. Eh, give or take, electric would be maybe another 5,000 for the electric, maybe more. Who knows? So that's already 9,000. Then you gotta check the floor and reinforce the floor. That's gonna cost you a couple $1,000s. That's just the beginning. That's before you do the sheetrock, the paint, and everything else. Then you gotta jack up the floor to find out why the steps are messed up. So, and the neighborhood that is in is not worth it. If the house was, let's say, 75% done, then yes, could have bought it. Excuse me. You could have bought it for whatever price it was, and paid and bought it for whatever. So anyway, you're gonna need at least 20,000 on top of the purchase price to fix this house up to code. It's nice to have your own house where you don't have to pay mortgage or nothing, that you can pay for it and stuff. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. But you have to be careful of how you do things. You have to be careful of how you will be buying, because in all reality, the house was tore up. So that's the first house. That was today. I'm stuck in traffic, so I figured I'd just record this and jabble this around because I'm stuck in traffic. There's a lot of traffic out here, and I'm from Philadelphia, as y'all know. And anyway, so the realtor's looking at me and they're like, "What do you think?" I said, "What you mean? What do I think?" No, it's too much money. It's too much money. The house is. So the owner happens to show up. And I tell the owner, I said, "Yo, you need to go cover that roof because a lot of water." He's like, "Oh, I ain't been in here for like 3 years and stuff." I say, "That's 3 years of water damage. That's a lot of years for water damage." He can't get that price. That's just it. First they wanted a certain price, and then in less than 10 days they lowered it $10,000. Less than 10 days they lowered it $10,000. And oh man, look at that. Almost caused an accident, buddy. You should have been looking at the light. Anyway, so I keep on looking at properties. You know, I look in the internet. I look to see what's out there. But with stuff that's going on, be careful how you house shop because prices are dropping. Prices are dropping. Please be careful when you go house shopping. Don't overpay for a house. The market is dropping. If you go right now to the internet, punch up any addresses, and you see the market value is dropping. What's not? I haven't seen new builds, new development dropping. I just see them getting expensive. As you know, Philadelphia is going through this redevelopment program and got expensive houses, lease houses, whatever. I'm a mediocre person. Give me a cheap house. I need to make some money. I'm not gonna live there, because you can't go into a mentality. Don't go into the mentality thinking that, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy this house and you're gonna spend X amount of money and do things like you're gonna live there. You're not gonna live there. You're gonna fix a house, bam, beautiful. And what happens next? They destroy your house. The renters destroy your house. I buy properties, I keep them. I use the rent. That's how I make my money, and I'm grateful that I'm able to do it. But when you go house shopping, just make sure you look at the comps in the areas. Make sure the comps in the areas hasn't lowered in value, went up. If it went up in value, great. If you can get it for a steal, get it. Um, and then again, if you have the money for it. But if for those who gets a loan, if the banks lend you $200,000, example, if the banks lend you $200,000, by all means, if you have a good job and you don't need a side hustle, then go ahead and buy it. Go ahead. The bank lend you 200,000. That means that you're good credit and all that yibbity yabbity stuff. You're perfect. You're good to go. Now, if you want to have income, go get a duplex or a triplex or something that you can offer, that you can buy. Where now again, if you ain't got a family or nothing, this and that, but you can still get a duplex, and you can go ahead and buy a duplex and make money off of it. Live in one apartment, have the second one for free, help you lower your cost, your debt to ratio for your mortgage, and then you go from there. Like, these are things that you gotta think about logically. I know we all want a place to live. Everybody wants a place to live and this and that. But if you get approved for 200,000, look for a duplex or something that's gonna make you money. But if you go buy a storefront and one apartment, then go ahead and do it. Rent the store, get money every month, and go from there. And then, all right, we go from there. Just the little things that I be thinking about. So and then there was a house that I saw. They wanted 59,000. I'm gonna tell you 59,000. I offered it a little less, and the offer got rejected. The offer was rejected because I guess I called too fast. And this was like 2 weeks ago. Now I looked it up in the market. They lowered the price. They lowered the price by $4,000. But the house need work, so I can't give them full price for a house that still needs work. I can't do it. Me personally, people that can, they can, but I can't. This is all about numbers. It's a lot of number games going on, and it's a lot of numbers game. And you got to think what you're gonna buy and what makes sense. Now, if they lower some more and get to that peak where I wanted at, I put a bid in and I'll say, okay, let's pull the trigger if it's still in the market. This is already 2 weeks. If it's still in the market, I'll pull the trigger and go ahead and see if I can get it. And the house is 80% done. It's not complete done. It is totally not complete done. It's 80% done. And don't think that I just buy houses that need rehab, because it's not like that. I buy the houses what fits me and what I can afford. If I can afford it, I just can't afford it. There's things that I have to have, and one thing I have to have is always leave money for the company, because if the company runs out of money, then that means you gotta go bankrupt, and that means you gotta sell all stuff. So we don't want to go through that. We don't want to go through none of that. So I try to put bids in what I can afford, so that way the company still has its little money there, just in case for a rainy day something happens. Properties do break. They have water leaks, they have roof leaks, whatever, and you'll have the money to cover it. Even though the insurance pay for a lot of these things, but you got to remember, you got to put in a claim, then you got to wait for the insurance, this and that. But you have tenants, so you have to fix that right away. You don't want to be named the slumlord, and people just talk, and you get to that thing. No, that's not what you want to do. And again, I'll talk to you from experience of me. You know, y'all work the other way. Y'all work the other way. People, realtors do different things, different height. You know, but I'm talking about me. But back to what I was saying to my previous conversation on the first, where I was saying was make sure that you look at the exterior wall. Because remember, this house that I just turned down the offer. Let's say this again. That house where you close the door, with the front door, there's a little bulge there. So the door and the frame doesn't match up to the cement that's there. So you know that's already a problem. Let's say it's already a problem. Now what's next? Don't even know what's next because I don't even know what's next. So I'm waiting for this other house to see if I could put a bid on it and see if I go pull the trigger. If not, then I'll just keep on looking. I mean, you know, it's nice to have money in the bank. But here's the thing. The money in the bank is not making you no money. So what's the point of having money in the bank if it's not making you no money? You need to make money. Like there's no reason why having money in the bank and then you don't have no it's not generating no income. The banks are making money because they lend out your money. So how's that? They lend out your money, they get their interest and they pay you this little interest, whatever the case may be. But yes, when you go house shopping, make sure you look at the exterior walls. When you go in the interior, oh, piece of advice, when you go in the interior, we already knew this house was messed up with water and stuff like that. But if you go buy a house, make sure you go to the basement, take something with you, and take any beams that there and tap it. Make sure it's solid. Anyway, just tap it, make sure it's solid. So that way you know there's no termites in the house. Because they can be termites in the house and they're selling the house without telling you. And yes, you have an inspector and this and that, but you know, you never know how people are. Because, you know, in this game, one hand washes the other. If you're not careful, one hand washes the other. So you really got to be careful in the things that you do. And but if you want to go house shopping, make sure you look at the exterior wall. When you go inside, make sure everything is even. Make sure the floors are even. Like this house was messed up. I mean, if there's a house that's already done and you're paying top dollars for it, then don't worry about it because it's already covered. But me, I like buying these okay houses ready to go for a couple dollars. And I say a couple dollars because there's houses worth a lot more money than what I'm saying. But I say a couple dollars, you know, just to say a couple dollars. But it's a lot more. But I'm still in traffic. But in reality, you know, make sure y'all look at the houses and stuff and make sure that it's it, because everybody wants a house. And oh, back to what I was saying. Let's go back again. See, I keep on going back and forth, and this ain't edit, so this is the way I'm going to throw it. This is a tutorial of house shopping. This is it. Now, like I said, looking at the house, purchasing the house, that's all fine and dandy. But remember, you're not living there. So you fix it up to code where people can live in it. You're not living there. So don't spend $10,000, $30,000 on a house that you pay $20,000 on, and then you collecting the rent, which is fine and dandy because you're going to make money off of it. But remember, there's a chance that they might mess it up. And don't worry what neighborhood you're going to buy it in because you're not living there. And always know somebody needs a house. Whether it's somebody's family member that lives on the block want a house, they want to move next to their mom or aunt and singers, cousins or whatever, you're always going to have a renter. You're always going to have a tenant. I'm sorry. You're always going to have a tenant there. Always going to have a tenant with no problem. You're always going to have a tenant. And And that is the reason why you're going to always have a tenant, because in that neighborhood, there's probably somebody that wants to live next to their family, and they're going to be there, and they're going to be next to their family, and they're going to do whatever next to their family and say whatever, just normal things. That So don't ever think that you're going to buy a house and it's going to be a waste of time and stuff like that. No, everybody needs a place to live. Even when we was growing up, oh yeah, when I leave, I'm gonna have my house and this and that. Hey, we gotta start renting. We gotta start renting. So, on that note, I'm just giving you a little my experience of today's tutorial of going to look at a piece of property, and the house was messed up. So, just remember some key points: exterior walls, interior walls. Make sure electric is okay. Make sure that y'all check for termites, and make sure the steps ain't crooked or nothing. But there was a lot of water damage, and make sure that the roof of this house is wet. Always ask, how's the roof here? Do you know anything about the roof? That's the first thing you ask. The second is, what's the comps in the area? And then you go from there. Anyway, this your boy Shav from the show off, DUHSHOWOFFZ. Go ahead and rock out. Make sure y'all go download it from Google Store, Apple Store, and subscribe to my channel. And, let's go from there. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.